Funding for Shaperillis is provided by
SeatGeek, the sponsor of today's video. Hey guy, what has been going on with Disney songs lately? In the 3 years since Encanto and its wholly beloved soundtrack came out, we have gotten 2 new animated Disney musicals, and they both kinda suck? Like, Wish was bad, everyone knows that, and Moana 2 was generic kid slop. Very clearly a TV show that got retooled into a movie because of how episodic it all is. We've established all that. But like, you would hope either of these movies would have the decency to have one good, memorable song? Okay, to be fair, Moana 2 did have one pretty decent one with the pseudo-villain song, Get Lost. But I wouldn't say by any stretch that that song, or any of the others in this movie, are catching on with kids and general audiences in the same way the songs from Moana 1 or Encanto are. My mom works with kids, so I asked her if she's heard them singing any new songs lately, and she says they're mostly just singing Let It Go and Peaches. So that's happening. There is one new Disney song she mentioned hearing, but we'll get to that in a bit. I remember seeing an article where one of the Moana 2 songwriters reacted to criticism of the new songs, saying, "Give it a month, all the kids will be singing it, and you'll be tired of it." Genuinely, I have not heard these songs anywhere since the movie came out, so nice prediction there. I'm not really here to fully analyze each of the songs in Wish and Moana 2 and explain in great detail why they're not very good. I think that horse has been beaten into a pulp with Wish, and with Moana 2, I mean, genuinely, who cares? They're generic in the most boring and sterile way, desperately trying to emulate the sound of the original, but just sounding like typical Moana-themed white noise in the process. They would have suited the somewhat lower standards of a TV show perfectly fine. I mean, okay, they're no Tangled the Series songs, but they would have been fine enough additions to each of these episodes. I think the Get Lost song in particular would have a bunch of people on Twitter clipping it and saying, "Yo, the songs in this Moana TV show are this fire?" But that hasn't really happened in the context of this being a theatrical movie, because our standards are just higher. Especially when the standard has been set by one of the most famous lyricists of our modern day, Lin-Manuel Miranda. This man is responsible for some of the most iconic Disney songs to come out in the last decade. But, and hear me out on this, he is also indirectly responsible for the current musical slump Disney finds themselves in. Why are Disney unable to get a damn hit out of their current songwriters? In my opinion, it's because those songwriters are trying too hard to make the next Lin-Manuel Miranda song, instead of just putting their best foot forward with their own unique styles. Let's start with Wish. Like we've gone over in the past, Wish's songs were inexplicably done by Julia Michaels and Benjamin Rice, 2 composers who have no experience writing a musical and instead write pop music. Undeniably, they're successful in that field, and I mostly place the blame at Disney's feet for hiring them for their 100th anniversary musical. Like, what did you guys think was gonna happen? It should also be mentioned that Disney didn't exactly give them much direction in terms of adapting their songs to the story. For this Wish, they literally just said, write an empowering ballad for the main character. So that's what Michaels did. She didn't know the context behind the song she was writing, cause there was no context. The demo version of the song was written before the actual story for the movie, which is crazy considering how little the song actually fits the story. It's like they never went back to change it after the fact to suit the story better. Incredible. There are obviously a lot of problems to unpack when it comes to Wish's songs, but one recurring theme that can be easily picked out is how much they come across as the poor man's Lin-Manuel Miranda. People like it when he crams a bunch of rapid lyrics into a small space, which we can see in Hamilton, but also Maui's rap bit in You're Welcome. It's fast and flowing and works super well. So why shouldn't we try and copy that in a movie with songs not made by Lin-Manuel Miranda? What could possibly go wrong? Oh. Yeah, see, I think Lin makes this style work, not only because he has good flow and knows how to make these segments not feel forced. Usually, I mean, Bruno's rap bit at the end of Encanto was pretty bad. But aside from the odd exception like that, he also understands that there is a time and place for these bits. Again, he's not fully off the hook, we'll get to that more later. But Maui's epic song about how great he is a good time to do one of these fast rapping segments. Lin did not try to quickly cram a bunch of lyrics together in his I Want song. He understood the assignment. The fact that How Far I'll Go should sound smoother and simpler to express the character's longing and desire. There are so many parts in this Wish, like the I've got reservations and hesitations on where I should even begin part, that don't fit a song about genuine longing and desire at all. They feel show-offy, and they shouldn't. You're Welcome is the right time for a character to sound show-offy. Like, that is the point of the song. Maui is trying to prove how awesome he is to Moana. My Shot is a good time for a character to sound show-offy. Hamilton is trying to prove his knowledge and drive to his new friends. Who is Asha trying to prove anything to here? Her heart's desire, expressed to no one but herself, should sound genuine and simple, even if she is a smart character. But instead, we get, open their eyes to all the lies, then would they change their minds like I did? Slow the f down, what are you even saying? There are other examples of this fundamental misunderstanding of Lin-Manuel Miranda-isms sprinkled throughout the rest of this movie. Have you ever wondered why flowers are such effortless and eloquent dancers? Lin uses big words and sounds smart. So if we use big words too, people might think we're good. Never mind the fact that eloquent means fluent or persuasive in speaking or writing. Something flowers do not do, but alright. See, we're all just little nebulae in a nursery from supernovas. Now we've grown into our history. We're taking Wise right out of our mystery closure. What the f are you saying? The songs Lin wrote for Moana and Encanto are not this fast and this lyrically complex. Even the rap bits. And the few times when they are, there's an actual good reason for it. Like the ending of the Family Madrigal is extremely rapid, but that's because Mirabel is panicking and trying to escape these kids asking her about her gift. It's like, he knows what is needed for each song, story, and character-wise, which is the bare fucking minimum when writing a musical? You only really start to fully appreciate how good he is at writing these songs once you hear an abysmal attempt at his style. And if you don't believe me when I say all this stuff, maybe you'll believe Stephen Sondheim. In his book, Finishing the Hat, he gives this quote about the issues with one of his earliest attempts at a musical that perfectly summarizes everything I just went over.
Class, along with other songs in Saturday Night, is a treasure trove of lyricist sins. This quatrain contains the first of many. Sin 1, verbosity. For me, the hardest sin to avoid. A passage like this exhausts the listener more than it does the singer. Unless a character is hyper-articulate for a reason, panic, defensiveness, exuberance, etc., cleverly rhymed logorrheic patter draws attention to the lyricist, not the character.
Okay, but that's enough about Wish. I'm gonna have an aneurysm if I keep discussing this movie. Let's talk about Moana 2. Actually, you know what? I want to do literally anything else but talk about Moana 2. Something fun would be preferable, like a cool live event. Which is why I want to give the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, a huge shout out. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, Broadway musicals, and more. Right now, you can get tickets to see Beyonce, The Weeknd, Kendrick Lamar, Post Malone, and so many others. Some of my friends are getting Sabrina Carpenter tickets using SeatGeek. And you know what? I might honestly do the same. She's from Southeast PA. That's where I'm from, so I legally have to stan. Thank God SeatGeek makes said standing a lot easier. Each ticket you see is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know if you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And you know I came through for you guys. You can use code REALIST10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off tickets with promo code REALIST10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. Okay, back to Come On, Moana, or whatever. Now, you'd assume Disney would want to bring Lin back for a theatrical sequel to a movie he wrote the songs for, but they didn't! Because this is not a theatrical sequel to Moana. Yeah, I can understand him not being available to write songs for a TV show, and not really putting your best foot forward to find songwriters who could live up to his legacy. I don't think it's fair to judge Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear by the same standards as other Disney composers, because they never signed up to be compared to all these other legends. But the thing is, the average person probably doesn't know that. They're just gonna see a new theatrical Disney movie that forever will exist as part of the Disney animated canon, and say, yeah, those songs were kinda mid, why didn't they just get Lin-Manuel Miranda back? I wish I had, things to say about these songs, but I really don't? The opening song is just Where You Are Again, but not catchy. The I Want song is just How Far I'll Go Again, but 10 times less interesting in every way. Musically, story-wise, visually, there's just nothing going on here that catches my interest. It feels like Moana has no personal investment in going beyond other than she just kinda has to. Whereas in the first movie, you felt that passion from her. And you also felt that the song was catchy, which Beyond is not. Even fucking This Wish is catchier, honestly. What could be better than this just goes by so quickly with this incredibly uncatchy and forgettable melody. Then there's the part in the middle where the smart girl gets to sing, and you know she's smart because she sings really fast. Wow, look, it's like a Lin-Manuel Miranda song. Isn't that cool? Do you like these songs yet? Does this remind you of Lin-Manuel Miranda yet? It's just got no flow to it though. It pales in comparison to the steady rhythm of Maui's rap in You're Welcome. She's just singing fast for the sake of singing fast, cause it worked in the other recent Disney movies. Can I get a Chi Who is one of the worst Disney songs, I think? Like, let's just put aside the fact that The Rock is so atrocious here in ways that he honestly wasn't in You're Welcome, since it was more written for his vocal range. This song is littered with abysmal rhymes, cringy lyrics, random tiger sound effects that don't fit at all. Maui says that the evil god villain skips leg day for real. This is the second song to use the term besties and the third use of it overall. They keep rhyming Moana with come on-a. And then of course there's another super fast rap moment, because we gotta have that. It worked so well when Lin did it, so clearly everyone should do it. We gotta stay hip with the kids. Even though Moana 2 generally has better lyrics and overall songs than Wish, it's still a step in the wrong, repetitive, underwhelming, poorly thought out direction. It feels like Disney is stuck in this rut of only wanting to make Lin-esque songs, which is so baffling to me. I mean, that's a very specific kind of Broadway song with a bit of an acquired taste. I don't know why they're so afraid of having variety in terms of the way these songs sound. I mean, it worked with Frozen. Robert and Kristen Anderson Lopez wrote some great music for the first film, including the most iconic Disney song of the 21st century so far. I guess maybe Frozen 2's soundtrack didn't have any of the hits they were expecting, so they wanted to pivot and try and get their latest songwriters to write the next We Don't Talk About Bruno for them. I don't know, man. Just let songwriters play to their own strengths instead of forcing them to be the poor man's Lin. You might be asking, what are the strengths of the Moana 2 songwriters? Well, I'll tell you, man. There was actually one bright spot in this movie's soundtrack, and it's the one song that doesn't sound anything like the rest of them. I'm of course talking about the song sung by the not villain of the film, Get Lost. It's just a good, swinging, catchy show tune. The kind of song that honestly doesn't really fit a Moana movie musically. Hell, it doesn't even really fit that much story or character-wise, hence why I hesitate to call it a great song. But it's kind of good. I like listening to it. It kind of feels like Barlow and Bear just wanted to write songs for a completely different movie. And you know what? Good for them. I'm glad they got something cool in here that didn't just feel like a reheated leftover of the first film. It doesn't even really have any subpar lyrics or rhymes from what I can remember. With that said, I still don't really have faith that Barlow and Bear, or Michaels and Rice, could write a fully good Disney soundtrack on the same level as those from the Renaissance, even if they were free from the confines of writing Lin-esque songs. I think what Disney really needs is their new Alan Menken, a brilliant musical theater songwriter who could really spearhead a new era of incredible music for the company. They were so impressed with his and Howard Ashman's work on Little Shop of Horrors that they hired them to write the songs for The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and a few in Aladdin. Even after Ashman's death, Menken continued to write the music for the songs in Pocahontas, Hunchback, Hercules, Home on the Range for some reason, Enchanted, and Tangled. And he obviously wasn't alone. He worked with a ton of great lyricists, including Glenn Slater, David Zippel, and Stephen Schwartz of Wicked fame. Menken was not the only person who wrote the music for Disney songs during the Renaissance and the 2000s. Elton John did Lion King, and Randy Newman did Princess and the Frog, for example. But Menken was sort of the default guy for the studio, and he wrote some absolutely brilliant, enduring classics that people still adore all these years later. So like, the obvious solution here to find the new Alan Menken is for it to be Lin-Manuel Miranda, right? He's the guy who wrote the only two highly beloved Disney soundtracks of the last 10 years. Clearly, they should get him as the songwriter on every Disney musical going forward, right? About that. See, Lin-Manuel Miranda has been writing Disney songs for movies that aren't Moana or Encanto, and they haven't exactly been going over well. Part of that is due to the fact that they're being written for the live-action remakes, which are already widely hated by people for being pointless, cynical, cash grab exercises in futility. So a lot of people are probably going into these songs with a bit of negative bias. I listened to them for this video and yeah, they're not that great. It's interesting because for the Little Mermaid remake, Alan Menken wrote the music for these new songs and Lin wrote the lyrics. So you'd think this is a real dream team pairing, but I kind of get the sense that Menken is at the stage in his career where he's just going through the songwriting motions for a paycheck. His legacy is secure, he doesn't really need to go out of his way to write something incredible anymore. It's a lot like what Andrew Lloyd Webber is currently doing, with the difference being I actually respect Menken. But yeah, these aren't really all that compelling composition-wise, and the lyrics are similarly fine enough. Like Wild Uncharted Waters, the new song they gave to Prince Eric, is better than every song from Wish and Moana 2 besides Get Lost. It's also just not all that memorable. I think it's the actor's passionate performance that really sticks out as the best part. Plus, to its credit, it definitely fits the tone of the movie's classic songs a lot better than Speechless did in the live-action Aladdin remake. I'm just not gonna be thinking about it by tomorrow, though. The same goes for a new song for Ariel, For the First Time. No, it doesn't have In Forever on the end, but you see how generic these songs kinda are? Anyway, it doesn't really work in the film because of the visuals. Like, she's singing it all in her head since she sold her voice, but because of poor direction, it doesn't look like she's actually thinking any of the things she's singing. Rob Marshall's fall off as a director after Chicago really needs to be studied. But regardless of that, it's similarly fine. Pleasant enough on the ears, fits in with the other songs enough, no egregious lyrics. It just doesn't inspire anything in me, which I shouldn't really be saying considering the pedigree of the duo who wrote it. There's a second Part of Your World reprise. Again, it functions perfectly fine. Lin's lyrics for it work. Am I forgetting anything? Oh yeah! This is the song everyone tends to point to when they discuss how washed Lin-Manuel Miranda currently is. I mean, it absolutely plays into his worst instincts with maybe the most out-of-place rapping bit ever inserted into a song he's been attached to. But we have to remember, Alan Menken is the one who wrote the music for this. He is equally culpable here. For all we know, he's the one who proposed this be a rap-type song as a tribute to Lin's other work, and Lin just went along with it. It might be a similar situation to Steven Schwartz suggesting to Ariana Grande that they change Popular to be more of a hip-hop song, and Ariana shutting that down because she actually wanted to play Glinda instead of just be herself as Glinda. Lin should have had that same willpower if this was Alan Menken's idea, because seeing a rapping realistic crab perform next to rapping realistic Aquafina bird made me want to gouge my eyes out. I did want to be fair and mention all the other songs though, and how they do at least fit the tone of the original film and its music. Scuttlebutt is the only one of these people talk about, but it is very much the outlier, and I wanted to be fair and express that. Now, in terms of Mufasa, this is the one where Lin actually wrote the music and the lyrics, meaning he's fully responsible for everything that goes wrong here. Just to be safe, since I don't know the story of this movie like I did for The Little Mermaid, I watched the entire film. Oh my god, this is one of the most atrocious things to ever exist. And just so I feel like I didn't waste 2 hours, I'm gonna be making a cinematic disaster review of it. Genuinely, how is it this bad? Anyway though, I don't want to go into detail on these songs since it would make more sense to cover them in that future video. But suffice to say, they haven't exactly been setting the world on fire. A lot of people have been clowning on this one clip of young Scar sounding incomprehensible as he sings about his brother.
It's not a straight, it's my brother.
But honestly, that song is kind of the best one? I don't know, it was cute and fun and catchy. It felt like Lin put in half the effort he usually does, but I kinda liked it. The love song wasn't half bad either, and the other songs ranged from generic to that one villain song which is legitimately very embarrassing. Seriously, how do you go from writing Shiny to writing this? It's kind of insane. Basically, Lin was not putting his best foot forward creatively with this prequel to the live-action Lion King. I mean, would you? Unfortunately, the fact that he was working on this meant he wasn't available for Wish or Moana 2. And that's such a shame because he could have added the mildest amount of artistic integrity to those projects. Like, the writing in Wish still would have been bad, but at least the songs would have been fire. It would have been like some of Pocahontas. Honestly, I think it is worth mentioning how the Brother song, both in a positive and negative way, has made more of a splash than any song from Moana 2. If you look at the official Disney Music Vivo uploads, their views all range from 4 million to 25 million. Decently respectable stuff. But then the Brother song has 61 million views. I don't know, man. When he writes a hit, he writes a hit. To be fair, the other songs from Mufasa have view counts ranging from 6 million to 500K. Okay, that's pretty bad by Disney song standards. But like, at the very least, there's been a bit of discussion about the Brother song. I wouldn't say it's as culturally obsolete as a lot of the Moana 2 stuff. And remember how at the beginning I said that the kids my mom works with have been singing Peaches, Let It Go, and one actual recent Disney song? Yeah, it's the Brother song from Mufasa. It actually caught on with its intended audience, in a way the Moana 2 songs really didn't. Quality-wise though, looking at Mufasa's songs as a whole, yeah, this definitely felt like Lin phoning it in. I mean, there's no Lin-isms like mile per minute singing or cringy rap bits. Which, by the way, when I say that, I'm not saying rap is inherently cringy. Obviously, it's great. I'm just saying when Lin attempts it, it can be pretty cringy a lot of the time. But yeah, there's nothing atrocious in Mufasa's songs, aside from maybe the villain song. But there's also nothing that really stands toe-to-toe with his work on the original projects Moana and Encanto. So, what's the deal here? Is Lin just incapable of writing something truly great for a musical anymore? Well, no, not at all. You want to know how I know that? Because he just released a new musical concept album. Yeah, you probably didn't even know that. For some reason, I don't see anyone talking about it. But in October 2024, he collaborated with Isa Davis and released the album Warriors, based on a cult classic action film from the 70s. The reason he released it as a concept album first is so he could collaborate with a ton of artists he couldn't get for a Broadway show, like Busta Rhymes and Ghostface Killah. The album also includes Coleman Domingo, Billy Porter, Amber Gray, and a couple of his old Hamilton co-stars like Pippa Sue and Jasmine Cephas Jones. I'm not going to talk about it too much since it's not what the video's about, but I just want to say it's damn great. Electric, captivating, catchy, with some great lyrics and melodies. If you haven't heard of it, I'd highly recommend giving it a listen. Now see, this is the Lin-Manuel Miranda I've come to know and love the music of. This is clearly something he feels passionate about. He was the one who conceived this project. He was the one who used it as a way to work with some of his dream collaborators. I'm just so glad he had time to do something for himself that'll probably end up being another huge hit on Broadway when it eventually makes it there. Cause I was worried he would be stuck in the Disney live action slot mines for the rest of his life. All of this discussion about him was a really roundabout way of saying, I don't think he's the right guy to constantly be working on Disney songs. I think while he poured a lot of passion into Moana and Encanto, the songs he wrote for the Little Mermaid remake and Mufasa felt more like jobs. I didn't get nearly as much passion from him, and I don't think said passion can really come across from prolonged employment at the Walt Disney Company. That's not me saying I don't want him to ever write the songs for an original Disney film again, but I just don't think he can do what Alan Menken did in the 90s. Especially since Menken had the benefit of, let's be honest, far stronger writers and directors on the films he worked on. I think the solution for Disney would be to bring in a revolving ensemble of musical theater composers who can write the sort of songs that made them so successful in the past. And preferably, they can give the job to people with a proven track record of doing a show on Broadway or on a similar venue. Here, watch this. I'll give Disney a bunch of suggestions for free right now. Frank Wildhorn. This guy has written everything from Bonnie and Clyde to Jekyll and Hyde to musical adaptations of Death Note and Fist of the North Star. He's been nominated for 2 Tonys, and I'm pretty sure he could just write literally anything he wants to and have it turn out good. So Disney songs should be a no-brainer. Janine Tesori. She's written a variety of acclaimed musicals from Fun Home to Kimberly Akimbo to Thoroughly Modern Millie, which has really good songs, don't look up what the plot is about, to Shrek the Musical, which... okay, the songs are kind of innocent in that. She did a good job with them, even if I don't like the musical itself. Regardless, she has a great track record, and Fun Home is incredible. I think she would kill it. Shayna Taub. She wrote Suffs and won a Tony for its book and score, and also starred in it, just like Lin-Manuel Miranda does, except she sang better. Tom Kitt. He wrote the music for Next to Normal, which is a masterpiece and one of my favorite musicals. He did other stuff like If Then and Bring It On the musical alongside Lin-Manuel Miranda and Amanda Green. No one remembers her, how sad. But yeah, Tom Kitt, good fit. Sarah Bareilles. She's a pop star who proved she has what it takes to write good musical theater songs with Waitress. Easy choice. Brett McKenzie. He's not a Broadway writer, but you know what he did write? The songs for the Muppets 2011 and Muppets Most Wanted. And those songs go so hard. It's insane to me that Disney didn't see how good they were and immediately tap him to write songs for their animated films. I mean, he literally won an Oscar for Man or Muppet. Lin hasn't even won an Oscar yet. This is your cue to go listen to the Muppets Most Wanted soundtrack. It is so fantastic. And finally, this guy doesn't have a Broadway show, but just hear me out. Jorge Rivera Arranz. I think he wrote some absolute bangers for Epic that I could totally see fitting into a Disney musical. I know he doesn't have the proven track record on a Broadway level I was talking about earlier, but hey, Disney already hired TikTok musical writers for what would eventually become one of their feature films. They might as well do the same thing, but with someone who I think could actually pull it off. Just tell him to keep the slant rhymes to a minimum and you'll be good. So yep, that's my solution. Actually get people who can write musical theater to write Disney songs, and don't force them to sound like poor Lin-Manuel Miranda imitations. It sounds really simple and obvious when I say it out loud, huh? But yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Disney has famously always gone through ups and downs in terms of the quality of their animated films, and we're just kind of in a rut right now that I'm sure we'll get out of eventually. I'm sure there are more incredible banger Disney songs later down the line. Until then, the best thing to do is just watch other non-mainstream movies you might not have heard of before. If you saw my video in December talking about Moana 2's post-credit scene, I dedicated a large chunk of that video to talking about how much I wanted to start recommending more niche animated films to you guys every time I talk about mainstream ones. I want to help expand the horizons of anyone who watches my videos. And since this is my first video about Disney movies since then, let me take this opportunity to recommend a cool, more obscure film. The Tune is a 1992 animated musical by Bill Plympton. It's pretty abstract, with a loose story about a guy needing to write a song for his job, and he ends up in this weird town where a bunch of weird shit set to really good and fun musical numbers happens. It's not a film for you if you're looking for a compelling story, but I describe it as a more comedic version of a Fantasia movie. It's a great opportunity to see some wacky and wonderful visuals, bursting at the seams with creativity. And it's really amazing how far they take some of these sequences. Some of the scenes admittedly go on a bit too long, but it's still well worth checking out if you've never seen any of Plympton's works. It's only 69 minutes and completely free on Tubi. Seriously, give it a watch. I better see some new logs for it on Letterboxd after I put this video out. Oh, and I'm still gonna make a video that consists of nothing but a bunch of recommendations for lesser known animated films. It's coming along, stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for me to shit on Mufasa. It's gonna be fun, trust me. Good night, Tri-State area.